Hello everybody, welcome to another Rick's Picks. Today I'm going to be doing my review of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles figure Triceraton Gladiator by NECA. Now I always loved the Triceratons. I always thought they were neat aliens and they were one of my favorite races from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line. So every time they make one of these guys, I definitely have to pick them up. So with that being said, first off, I want to thank everybody who has subscribed. You're very much appreciated. And for anybody who watches this video and like it, then I please ask that you subscribe as well. And also check out my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles playlist. So, without any further ado, let's get to the review. So here he is in packaging. I love the packaging for him. I've been loving the packaging for all the comic book style figures of this wave. So first off, you have Nickelodeon in this corner. NECA. Got this nice open window so you can see the figure, all his accessories, Eastman and Laird's, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and his name. And of course, you got some really cool comic book art on there. I do like that. Spinning around to this side. A little bit of that glare off there. You got the Turtles logo here. A continuation of the window. And you also get a headshot of him. Around here. You get some cool poses that you can put them in. I do like that. And then you also get pictures of some of the figures that are part of this wave. Come around here. You get some more killer artwork from the comics. I really like this picture. That looks really cool. And the Turtles. Back around this way. On the top, you got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Eastman and Laird's. You got your age restriction, choking hazards, Nickelodeon, more of the window. And then underneath you got your legal and skew. So, with all that being said, let's open them up and see what he's about. Okay, so here he is out of packaging. I love the overall look to this figure. He looks really, really cool. So first thing we're going to do is look at his points of articulation. So the head does move. You got a shoulder joint with a swivel. You got an elbow joint. Ooh, that's tight. And you do got a wrist joint. Okay. Get this other arm up. You do have a joint here underneath the ribs. And you also have a hip joint. All right. So we're going to spin him around this way. He does have a thigh joint with a swivel. All right. He has a knee joint. Oh, man, that is tight. And he also has an ankle joint. So his his joints seem a little bit on the tight side. All right. So, you may want to use a little bit of hot water with his joints. But now let's take a good look at him. So first off, I love this head sculpt. The head sculpt looks really cool. So you look at it from this side. And then you look at it from that side. It just looks really, really neat. I like the overall look to it. And his mouth opens as well. So now you can get a look at his mouth as well. So that's pretty cool. I do like with this line of figures that they do add these black lines to give it more of a comic book look to it. So I like that as well. There's not a whole lot of extra detailing in his body. It's pretty much basic muscle. He's a gladiator, so he doesn't have all sorts of cool armor on him. Then you got this side here, which looks pretty cool. You do get some really, let me move him this way. You do get some really nice dark shadowing under here. Same with his back. This is where his tail's going to hook into. All right. Then you got this side. You can see more detail in the arms. I do like how they scale up his skin. So it's not a smooth skin. It's like a scaled skin similar to, like, let's say, like a rhino or elephant. So overall, I think he looks really, really cool. I like his overall look. Now, we are going to look at a few of his accessories right now before I start the second segment. And the reason is because I'm going to put them in some hot water. So first you got his tail. All right. And I'm going to put the tail in the hot water because sometimes it fits together a lot easier when you put the tail in hot water. All right. And then he has 4 holding hands. And the reason I'm doing the holding hands is because these fingers are really, really tight. And for them to work well with the weapons, I want to soften them up. Because just how the weapons look, and we'll get into that in the next segment, you know, you would definitely want these fingers to move very easily. Same with this one. All right. Then you have this one here. That's another holding hand. And that one as well. All right. And then he has 2 open hands. Oops. As I throw them onto the table here. 1 and 2. So that's all his body parts that come with him. Okay. So now we're going to look at the accessories. So as I mentioned earlier, right now I got the hands and the tail all sitting in the hot water. So while it's doing that, we're going to look at his different weapons. So he has this sword. That looks pretty cool. All right. We have this one as well. Okay. Yeah, it's like this battle staff here. That looks pretty cool. You know, and looking at this, I hate to say it. Anytime I see a weapon like this, the old school Star Trek fight music always kicks into my head. Thanks, Star Trek, for that conditioning. All right, you got this weapon here. It looks like it's a spiked weapon with a triangle weight at the end, and they use real chains. I love when toy companies use real chain. It just makes it look so much better. It has a better flow to it. It just works so well. So anytime I see real chain, it really makes me happy. And then he has this thing here that's sort of like nunchucks, but with an extra piece. All right. Now that should have given these hands plenty of time to soak. So we're going to start with the tail first. So spin them around this way. Get the tail. And pop it on in there. Give it a quick spin. There it goes. All right. So his tail is now in. And it'll also help balance out the figure a little bit better too. So now let's do these open hands. 1, 2. All right. 2. All right. So those swapped out pretty easily. No issues. So now we're going to get into these holding hands. All right. Let's get this one here. All right. Now, let me grab this one here. So as you can see now, you see this hand? Look how much easier these fingers move. Now, before this, you couldn't even get them to move like, you know, like even a quarter of an inch, let alone free movement. And that's why with figures like this, it's kind of important to heat up the hands if you're going to do stuff like this. Because now you take this sword and you open up this hand, and the sword fits very well in there now. Where if I didn't heat this up, I'd be struggling to get that in there. So now let's do this hand as well. All right. So yeah, perfect fits. No issues with that. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the other hands for his pole weapons. All right. Or his blunt weapons, I guess you would call them. Yeah. All right. So there's that one. And there's that one. So they pop in really well. Fingers move very good. All right. So yeah, that just went in nicely. And just moving the thumb around. Boom. That works very well. No issues. All right. Matter of fact, you can even drape the chain. Oh, I bring his arms in a little bit closer. Because these hands are now softened up, you can get that other weapon in there just like that with no issues. And now some toy companies like Hasbro does this a lot. They'll actually make the hands softer so you can actually fit the weapons in without, having to heat it. And that's one of the things I do like about some of their figures. Like I noticed that a lot with a lot of the G.I. Joe classified figures and what have you. And then boom, that works fine. And back to what I was saying, yeah, NECA's notorious for actually having harder hands that make it an issue to get weapons in. But as you can see, once I soften these hands up, everything fit very well with him. So let's get into my final thoughts with this figure. First off, the joints move okay. You do need to use some hot water on them, or at least I'd recommend. I mean, yes, I was able to get them moving, but if you want them to move a little bit more fluent, I would probably recommend using some hot water on some of his joints. All right. The hands swapped out pretty well. Yes, I used hot water for that, but you might be able to swap the hands out without it. But you're definitely going to need the hot water when you put the weapons in his hands. Because as you saw, the hot water really softened up those fingers, made it easy to get these things in and out. And I don't think you could probably get half of these weapons into his hands without the hot water. Like the spear. The way how this head is, you would have to try to slide it in, without the hot water because the fingers are that stiff. And I just don't think you would be able to do it. So I would highly recommend using hot water to swap out any of these weapons. As for his overall look, he looks great. I feel like he did capture the whole look from the comics. The Triceraton Gladiators, I think he looks really well. I like the attention to detail to him and what have you. Now, what I don't like about this figure, there's not much, okay? Most of it's probably a little bit of nitpicking. Like I said, yeah, you have to use hot water to get the weapons in. It would be nicer if they made the hands a little bit softer so you didn't have to use hot water. Some toy companies do that. Like I mentioned earlier, Hasbro and a few other companies make their hands a little bit softer. I think Joy Toy is another one that does that. So you can easily swap out weapons. So that's one of my issues with them. And the other issue, I guess you could kind of say, is the tight joints. That, the joints are really tight. So you're probably going to have to use some hot water. So those are probably my two main issues with this figure. But the real question is, would I recommend it? Absolutely. If you're a fan of the old Mirage Turtle comics, I would highly recommend this figure to go with your collection. He's a really cool figure. I love the overall look to him. So, with that being said, I hope you all did like this video. If you did, go ahead and check out my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles playlist and hit that like, share, and subscribe. They're all small clicks for you, but it really helps this channel grow. So, until the next one, late.